The next three speakers are going to take you into our program, Ancestral Work. Sister Joy's going to show you how to get your names in from Family Search into our program.
As far as the videos, there's 4 of them, and I'm going to just show you a little teeny bit from the one about submitting names. But before I do that, I want to say something about Ancestral Work. I have worked with this program for many years, and when it first came out, before Heber took it over, and it's been a work in progress. And I have to say that he has developed this so beautifully, and I have never got frustrated with it, really, I haven't. But I've been able to call him too when I had a question. But it just gets better all the time. Ancestral Work is a really, really, really wonderful program on submitting our ancestors.
I was just going to say, this is the home page. If you wanted to see where the videos are, right here, there's a little film strip with your video tutorials. That is where she's going to find these.
I was looking, and Heber will explain this, but it's under genealogy resources too. Scroll down here, because I found it under genealogy resources today. I won't have time we won't go through them, we won't take the time to do that, but I love this program. It's just amazing, and it's not hard to use. It gets better all the time. These 4 videos are Genealogy 101, big time. They're so easy. Watch these videos on your own. They have to do with submitting names into Ancestral Work. They have to do with moving records from Family Search to importing them into Ancestral Quest so that you can make a GEDCOM and upload them. There's one on doing that whole process, upload into Ancestral Work. They're pretty short, 5 minutes, some of them are 13 or 14 minutes, but you can get through them pretty quick. So the 2 topics that I wanted to talk about that are really important to me that I want to emphasize, and you might think, oh, we know that, but we really need to emphasize this. The first one is the importance of documentation, and there are some, and I'm aware of it, that feel like they can pull records from Family Search and get them uploaded into Ancestral Work, and they're so excited to do ordinance work, but they don't realize that Family Search has so many mistakes, and it's sad. You need to start, and this sounds really basic, but you do need to do this. Start with you, find, and of course, documenting who your dad is, you know that, and your grandparents and great-grandparents, those are going to be easy. But you get a little further back and you need to have documents, and you find those. You begin by looking in sources in Family Search to find those. And if you cannot find them, if, say, Family Search is saying 0 sources, you can look in Ancestry. And I want to tell you that I know everybody won't be able to get an account in Ancestry, but I would volunteer. I would love to do lookups for you. That means if you need to find out if there's even sources on that person, I can't do your genealogy, of course, but I could look and see if Ancestry has those. Because Ancestry is kind of expensive, and frankly, I just renewed mine last month and I haven't used it at all. I've been on other things. So sometimes you can get a subscription to it and you may not use it that much. So I wouldn't suggest all of you get one. It's pricey. Anyway, documenting is so, so important. And I don't like, or I don't agree with the idea of looking at your chart and seeing, oh, it drops off right here. There's nobody. Well, we'll pick up and search from there. Don't do that. I mean, that's my opinion. You still start from you and you work back to that. Because say you're going to your fan chart that stops at generation 6 and you think, oh, I'll just pick up on generation 6 and move on. Research from there. But what if meantime in generation 3, somebody puts something wrong in and your fan chart is wrong, and you are doing baptisms for people who are not even your ancestors. So this is something to think about. I mean, if you want to do somebody else's genealogy, but that's not our responsibility. We want to do our own, right? Okay, and then the other point I want to make is what Rhonda was talking about using Ancestral Quest. It would be really, really good if you don't already have your ancestors moved or imported from Family Search. You import. If you haven't already done that with your genealogy, with your tree, and when I talk about a tree, it's starting with you and it's going back all the generations. And if you haven't already done that, do it soon. Do it tomorrow. Do it tonight. Doesn't mean you have to be spending a lot of time on genealogy. And here again, many of you will be getting your ancestral work or Ancestral Quest accounts, but if you don't, we can help you because you may only need to do that once. And again, I'll help you do that. That's not hard. Doesn't take very long at all to go through that process. And there is a video on here on how to do that. But if you don't do that, people make changes in Family Search, and even ordinances, an ordinance that is valid, that will show up valid today, it could tomorrow or next year show up invalid or a later date because they repeat. Did you know there was a lady who was baptized in the church 100 times? Really happened. And it was back before they could keep track like they do on ordinances now. To prove this point, we have a sister in our work who's been busy with her genealogy, and she found those whose work needed to be redone, and she was submitting names. But the program here is another beautiful thing about an ancestral work. It'll tell you if some other patron is working on your line, on that ancestor. And in this case, when I was looking at hers, it told me, oh, somebody else is working on this name. Somebody else has got it in their account. It happened to be her husband. And 15 years earlier, about the time the Ancestral Work program came out, he created an account. He put her records in, and believe it or not, this is what was so amazing. That particular name was valid in his records. But by the time we uploaded hers, somebody had redone it. Family Search is supposed to use the earliest date. So if someone fed their ordinances in 1890, then yeah, that should be there. But it's not always. They'll use a recent one. So you can see why we don't want to redo her work when it's valid. My grandfather, he was excommunicated because of a plural marriage. But if I look him up in Family Search, there's no ordinances there. However, I have his record. I have a family group sheet on him. Says he had his endowments in 1899 at the Manti Temple. Manti Temple is really special to me because my grandparents were married there. So do that. Don't procrastinate. You mothers, if you don't have time to do genealogy, believe me, when my kids were little, I didn't do very much. Get those records off of Family Search into your own personal file, which will be in Ancestral Quest. Do it right away, and don't procrastinate that. And I thank you.